Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel, and this video is to try and help you discover which of the 7 now different versions of the G430 driver will suit you. And so with those 7, and this is before we talk about the loft arrangements, because with the 1.5 degree either way loft sleeve that it has got, that you can change the loft up and down with a relatively small amount, they commonly make 9 degrees, 10.5 degrees and 12 degree heads. So with those 7, you've got around about 20 or so options to choose from. And this is before we talk about obviously how with an offset camber loft sleeve, you have a certain amount of twist in the head as soon as you go up and down the lofts. So it makes it slightly fade bias or slightly draw bias, depending if you add or take away loft. So I've made a chart because everybody loves a chart, and hopefully it will allow you to understand what does what one will have this characteristic over that one, because guys, down the lens you know exactly what you want, and for that purpose let's have a look at every single one of them and show what one does over the others. So in the table that you can see there, fairly easy to understand table. First of all, on the left hand side we've got all the models. I haven't listed all the individual HL models. Again, they do obviously make it in HL the high launch options, effectively a lightweight shaft, lightweight grip, a lighter weight head because the back weight is lighter. That is available in 10K, the Max Standard, and also SF Tech. Not available in LS Tech for obvious reasons, but effectively it's still there. So when you come to doing the HL, when we look at it, it's a bit more blurred because obviously there's 3 versions in one. But let's look at the characteristics. First of all, you can see bias. Bias basically means, has it got a bias towards either draw or fade? And for a lot of these, obviously the Max itself has that adjustable weight. That large lump of mass at the back there can be moved from its draw to neutral to fade, and that's, from Ping's point of view, say it gives you about 8 yards. Also, movability is a movability word, but yeah, it gives a little bit of flight change, but 8 yards or so, depending on your delivery, etc. But it has that tendency to move flight, a little bit draw, a little bit fade, and in its neutral setting. The Max 10K hasn't got that, so it is literally welded into that neutral position, so it is a neutral bias driver. If you go to SF Tech, that is absolutely in the heel part of the sole. It's at the back, but it's definitely towards the heel. And then when you go to an LS Tech, that also has movability. It has still got that weight port which you can move, but it is obviously a low spin head. Now obviously the HL, you've got all different models, etc. So it has just got a slightly less of a movement because that weight is not as heavy. Now I've done full videos of all of these on my channel already. Obviously the Max, the SF Tech, the LS Tech was from last year, because this is a 2-year life cycle product. We are halfway through the life cycle for G430, and so about a month ago they released the Max 10K. I've also done a video of that one, a full review, forgiveness review at different swing speeds, etc. You can have a look on my channel listing if you want to look at any one of those. We'll look at launch next to see if you know that you need a bit more launch, a little bit less launch, and then we'll do the spin and forgiveness and stuff like that in a sec. But if you look at the launch now, 5 is the most and 1 is the lowest. So if you're looking for the highest launch, you're going to go for something like the Max 10K. Why? That just launches a fraction higher than the Max loft for loft adjusted. So you're talking about a standard 10.5 degree, say set a standard 10.5 degree. The Max 10K will have a tendency just to launch a fraction higher than that of the Max. So that gets a 5, but it's just under that. So that's why the Max gets a 4. If you want the lowest launch possible, you've got the LS Tech. That definitely does launch it lower because of that weight is closer to the face. And then you've obviously got the SF Tech. That can also be, I've set it at 2, but that could be 3, really interchangeable with the HLs because of the fact that the HL comes in different models. Spin rate, if you want to control your spin, if you want to get as low a spin as you possibly can do, LS Tech, absolutely. It will low spin technology, the weight is closer to the face, and it will definitely reduce your spin. It will also reduce forgiveness as well. That's the next column, but we'll go into that in a sec. But if you want to increase your spin, again, you need a bit more. You've got the Max there. That definitely does give the most. Again, I haven't got a number 5 on there because, again, it kind of blurs out when I want to do the other 2, but you've got the Max 10K. That does launch slightly higher than the Max, and then also spins fractionally less, which is kind of the holy grail when it comes to drivers. Generally speaking, if you want to maximize your distance, a high launch, low spin flight with forgiveness as well, which the Max 10K does. The Max 10K is my pick of the bunch for the general golfer. The only thing I don't like about the Max 10K is it hasn't got that adjustable weight. So I think possibly in G435, whenever that will come around, probably next year or after, whenever it'll be, it might have a movable weight. You never know. We'll wait and see. But you can see there the LS Tech obviously lower spin, and then the other two, the HL and SF Tech, they kind of move around because the HL is available in the Max 10K, and also the SF Tech. Forgiveness. Let's go have a look at how forgiving all of them are in their orders. You've got the maximum one is the Max 10K. It's the highest MOI, moment of inertia, resistance to twist, that kind of idea. So when you hit it off center or off the effective middle, then you'll get less twist from the head. Now, obviously, all of these got roll and bulge, or spin consistency, as Ping like to say. They've moved the roll and bulge a little bit to try and get a little bit more consistency of spin around the face. But effectively, that's what it is. It's trying to make you hit target more often when you don't hit the middle. And it is the most forgiving, so that gets a 5. Very closely behind that is the Max, the standard Max on number 4. It is very, very close to that. And in actual fact, the standard Max 10K, the standard Max non-10K in, I think, the 10.5 degrees option is actually very, very close to that of the 10K. But obviously, as soon as you start moving loft around and the weight position around, you start losing MOI straight away. That's why, so if you look at the SF Tech, that's down at 1. People think that low spin heads are the least forgiving. To a certain extent, that's true because of the low spin nature. But if you just look at raw MOI, and of course, that's how Ping are really focusing on the Max 10K. They're referencing that 10,000 MOI units as 10K. So then we're just using like for like, and it has to say the SF Tech is the lowest in the forgiveness of the lot. And then just shortly after that is actually the LS Tech. The Ping's offering, the G430 LS Tech, is one of the most forgiving, and also it's not the lowest spinning, but I mean, that's why they're getting the balance right. But it is a very, very good option. It would go in a lot of people's bags, absolutely would do. And then of course you've got the HL. The HL is made up of the Max 10K and the SF Tech, so that's why it gets a 3, because it's a kind of, well, 3 models in one. If not, the chart would be getting longer and longer and longer. So when it comes to swing speed, this is the interesting thing of swing speed. The swing speed is there as a generalized understanding of who they're marketed and targeted towards. This is absolutely not me saying just because, okay, the LS Tech is a 5, and 5 is the highest swing speed. Just because you swing at 120 miles an hour, you instantly need an LS Tech. That is not true at all. The reason I wasn't even going to put swing speed on there, because I just do not believe in the whole marketing side of that. Because yes, if you were to have one person's delivery and it just stayed the same and you just increase speed, yes, there's going to be a certain spin rate increase as soon as you add speed, etc. But everyone swings differently. Everybody swings differently. Everyone has got a different requirement for spin. Just because you swing at 120, 130 miles an hour, if you swing, your angle of attack is quite high, goes in going up, and you deliver not that much dynamic loft, so your spin loft number is quite low, absolutely you do not need an LS Tech, because you already spin it low because of your swing dynamics, your delivery dynamics. Conversely, you take that to a slow swing speed golfer and then you do it the other way round, they could quite easily need an LS Tech, because they swing with they're hitting down too much of the golf ball and delivering too much loft. Now, of course, you have to pair that with forgiveness, generally speaking, and it's a generalization. Again, high handicap golfers tend not to hit the middle that great. And so, generally speaking, they need a more forgiving head. And so that would then absolutely move towards the Max and the Max 10K. Now, the Max 10K, I think, from the point of view of just that adjustable weight, G435, hopefully, the Max 10K I'm a great fan of, because it potentially will fit so many golfers for the requirements that it has. The fact that it can launch really well, the fact that it spins it relatively, it's not a massive amount less than the Max, but it is that holy grail side of things, where other manufacturers have done their Max or 10K options and have gone a different route. When it comes to spin profiles, Ping have done an amazing job with the Max 10K. So when it comes to swing speeds, as a general rule, yes, the highest swing speed players will need the lowest spin rates, potentially. And then the slowest swing speeds will need the highest spin rates, potentially. But that is an absolute generalization and has got nothing to do with the individual of the golf. That's why it's so important that you get custom fit properly, because of your individual swing dynamics will absolutely interfere with that numbering system. It's the only one I would say that really kind of jumps out to be absolutely true would be the HL models. The HL models are there and they're designed to be made of lightweight components. So the heads themselves are lighter, the back weight is lighter. And yes, for the scientifically nerdy people out there, with a lighter back weight, yes, that will potentially affect its launch compared to its non-HL partner as such, brother or sister. And then also it potentially also has an effect on its MOI, its forgiveness. But it is all made up of slightly longer shafts, lightweight grips, lightweight head. And Ping are saying they average 9, 10 yards gain from a slow swing speed player going to a HL model. So that is a very quick overview of all of these. Now, again, I would say absolutely get custom fit, because as soon as you go into different lofts and then you play with that offset camber sleeve, it does have the effect of twisting it open and twisting it closed, which will have it draw biased or fade biased as you start moving around. It's also got some flat settings on the back, so you can spin the shaft around completely and still do a bit of loft adjustment, but make the head flatter. And so changing the lie will also change the trajectory as well. So it is vitally important that you get properly custom fit. With 7 options, 20 or so different heads before you even think about shafts. Hopefully by this, you've got an understanding of what potentially may suit you, and that will enable you to go into your fitting with a better understanding of what you need to test. But I would always, when it comes to nowadays, especially with all the different options available, make sure you get properly custom fit so you walk out after spending your hard-earned money on the right choice. Hope you liked the video. If you did, thumbs up. Go on YouTube, like so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free. It's great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you. And next to that is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. Hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.